Hello and welcome to the Futures Lab. So we have our game where these trees are growing larger and moving down on the screen, and while it's not perfect, the longer that you play, the more this optical illusion works, whereby you feel like this character is running forwards through a forest with all of these trees coming closer towards her. So this week we are going to make something that we do want to run into. Unlike the trees, where if you run into them, the game is over, you've lost the game. We are going to make some stars, which are collectibles that give you points, and we are going to do this in a very simple way by copying the tree sprite. So make sure you've got your project open with me now. Click on the trees sprite, and then right-click on the tree sprite and select duplicate. So now you should have this additional sprite called trees 2. What we're going to do is we're going to rename this as stars. Your collectibles can be something else. Maybe you're trying to collect burritos or anything you like, or you can maybe do some coins if you want to get a nice coin sprite or from the internet, or if you want to draw your own. We are going to go to the costumes in the top left corner, just where it says costumes. We're going to go to the bottom left corner and click on choose a costume, and I'm going to grab star. Okay, so what I'm also going to do is, while I'm here, I'm going to delete the tree sprites just so we have just the star sprite. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to make these stars turn slowly as they come towards us, which is going to give us this sense that they're kind of like these kind of spinning collectibles. It's a very common thing in Mario games and such, to have things slowly rotate. So what we need to do is, in the stars sprite, we need to look at the code for when I start as clone, and then go looking for where it says repeat 140. This is what the star does as it comes towards us. Go to the top left corner, click on the motion, and grab out turn 15 degrees and put it inside the repeat 140, just underneath where it says that, repeat 140, and change 15, or what shall we try? Shall we try 3? Let's try 5. Let's try 5. Okay. And for now, let's just see what this looks like. Okay, we've got these little spinning stars. Now if we touch them, we still lose the game. So let's have a look at the code. If you'll find now, if touching Monet, then set brightness effect to 100, wait 0.1 seconds, and then stop all. We're going to take out that stop all and just drop it here. And now what should happen is, these spinning stars, if we walk into them, they sort of flash briefly, which is a cool little effect. Gives us this sort of feeling like we've picked them up, but we don't lose the game. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a scoring system. So in coding, we use something called variables. So go to the left side of the screen, click on variables, that dark orange category, and in the top left corner, click on make a variable. Now type in score and press OK. So now we should have this score in the top left corner and a little 0 next to it. Now a variable is, imagine it's like a box that holds a piece of information, and that piece of information could be a number or a word or something like that. In this case, it's always going to be a number. The number can change, just like a score can change. When you're playing your game, your score will go up the more points you collect. So we are going to make sure that when we start the game, the score always starts off at 0, because it's a new game and we want it to start off at 0. So look around for when green flag clicked, drag out set my variable to 0, click on that white triangle next to where it says my variable, select score, and we've now got set score to 0. If we don't do that, then the score will actually remember what score it was last time you played the game. So now what we're going to do is go back to the if touching Monet, then set brightness effect to 100, wait 0.1 seconds. What we're going to do is we're going to grab out change my variable by 1, and we're going to put that after the 0.1 seconds. We're going to click on that white triangle, change it to score, and we're going to change the score by 1. That's how many points you're going to get when you collect a star. So that's good. Let's see if that works, shall we? We've got these spinning stars. If I collect one, oh, I'm a bit close to that tree. Oh, there we go. Careful, careful. There we go, our score is going up. We're able to collect the stars, and if I start a new game, our score starts at 0 again. That all seems pretty good. So what we're going to do now is we are going to create a high score variable. So we are going to go to the top left corner and click on make a variable. And we're going to call this high score. Now, if you're not familiar, the high score is the highest score that someone's been able to achieve in your game. So we're going to go to control, and we're going to get out an if then. And we're going to put it right underneath where it says change score by 1. And we're going to ask a question, and the question's going to be, is the score higher than whatever the current high score is, right? So for that, we need a more than operator. So go across to the green section on the left, look for more than. That's 6 from the top. It's this little arrow pointing towards the right. I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see it a bit more. And put that right in between the if and the then in our if-then statement. Then we're going to go to variables. We're going to drag out score and put it in the first little socket of our more than operator. And then we're going to drag out high score and put it in the second socket of our operator. So now we've asked the question, is the score more than the high score? If it is, then we need to update the high score with the new high score. So we're going to get out set high score to 0, put that there. Now this is the clever bit. We're going to, when the new high score is set, when you beat the high score, let's say the high score is 10 and you're playing the game and you get 15, you've beaten the high score. So the new high score needs to be 15. So we're going to set the high score to, and then can you see in the top left corner where we've got score, drag out that little rounded score and drop it right on top of the 0. So now we're going to set the high score to whatever the score is. Now this code will work in any game. We've used it before here. And let's see if it works. So we're going to try and collect a star without dying by walking into these trees. There we go, we've got a score. Okay, so now you can see the score's gone up, but also the high score has gone up. And you can see the same thing is happening. It's up to 3 now. Alright, now I'm going to purposefully die here. So the score is 6, the high score is 6. We're going to hit new game, go in the top left corner. And now the score is 6, but the high score, sorry, the score is 0, but the high score is still 6. And can you see what's happening? We haven't broken the high score, so it's staying at 6. Very simple bit of code, but very useful. It's a really fun thing. I've noticed a lot of... It's good fun to sort of get some healthy competition, isn't it? So, we've got our score and our high score system. What we're going to do next is we are going to put in some a game over screen for our game. So we're going to go to backdrops. We're going to go to the top left corner and click on backdrops there. Now we're going to rename this particular costume here. Can you see in the top left corner it says backdrop 2? Just where I'm wiggling my mouse. Click on that and rename this. Now I'm going to call it Horizon. You can call it something like playing game or something, because this is the backdrop that we want when the game is being played. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on that. So we're going to click on, I'm going to go to the bottom left corner, hover over choose a backdrop, move up to paint, where I'm wiggling my mouse here. Click on paint, and we're going to rename this backdrop as game over. And this is going to be nice and simple. I'm going to make a black box that just covers this square in the middle. And then I'm going to make some red text that just says game over. And you can choose whichever font you like. My favorite font is the Pixel font. And then once you've made it, drag it around. You can do something like that. Oh, it's a bit difficult to read with Monet there, isn't it? Let me double click on this. And I'm going to put it all on one line. If you double click on the text, then you can edit it again, which is really useful. Okay, that seems pretty reasonable. I like the way that that looks. I might even move it up just a little bit. And just adjust it a little bit by eye until I'm happy with the way it is. Yeah, that looks great. Awesome. So now we've got our Horizon backdrop costume and our Game Over costume. So let's go to the code, the top left corner, click on code, and then click on Monet in our Sprite window over here where I'm wiggling my mouse. We're going to change the backdrop from Monet's code. So go to looks in the top left corner, that purple category, and grab out switch backdrop to game over and put it right underneath when green flag clicked. And click on, doesn't matter which one, as long as it happens at the beginning of the game. And then click on that white triangle, because we want to change it to Horizon, or whatever you've called your normal backdrop. So if we start the game, perfect. That means we always start on the horizon. Now we're going to go to the trees sprite. Click on trees, that's over here. And we are going to, when the game is over, we are going to bring up the game over screen. So look for if touching Monet, because that's where we stop our game, isn't it? So then what we're going to do is we're going to drag out another switch backdrop to game over. I'm going to put that right underneath the wait 0.1 seconds. Hit go, and let's see if it works. There we go, game over. Got a little cat friend to visit you guys at the moment. That's all good then. We've got a score, we've got a high score, we've got a way of making the game over. There's one last thing that we can add that should be really good, and that is some clouds to move through the sky. Actually, before we do that, at this point, what we might do is just adjust how often the stars are being made. So if you go to stars, the sprite stars, and look for when green flag clicked, and then look all the way down, you should find in that forever loop, there's a wait 1.5 seconds. That's how often we decided that trees should spawn. And I recommend you change that number a little bit. Change it in trees, change it in stars, see what it's like. It'll make the game harder or easier. And that's a good thing to mess around with. I'm going to click on that wait 0.5 seconds, and I am going to change it to wait 2 seconds. And that means that the stars aren't always going to spawn at exactly the same speed as the trees. They're going to be slightly offset. But yeah, this is the opportunity you can have to kind of have a bit of a play around with those. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to get out some clouds. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on our trees sprite. We're going to duplicate. We're going to rename this sprite as clouds. We're going to go to the top left corner to costumes. Down you go, kitten. And we're going to bottom left corner, click on choose a costume, type in cloud. Now you can add as many of these clouds as you want. In fact, let's add all of them. So keep going. All right, we've got cloud, then we've got cloud A, cloud B, cloud C, cloud D. And make sure you click on the trees and click on that little X to get rid of the trees costumes. And have a look at when I start as clone in our clouds code, and you'll find something that says switch costume to pick random 1 to 2. Change that number so that it's 1 to however many costumes you have. So I've got 5 costumes. Let's try 5 costumes. Okay. So that's all looking pretty good. Now, this whole bit of code which says if touching Monet, then we want to delete all this code because these clouds aren't meant to touch Monet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this, delete this clone off the bottom of it. I'm going to grab the whole if touching Monet and throw the whole thing out, and then put delete this clone underneath. Okay, so let's hit go and see what happens. Okay, so immediately, that's actually kind of cool actually. There's like mist now. And touching it does nothing, but there's kind of the clouds are all, they're all moving down, aren't they? So we want them actually to start much higher in the sky, and we want them to move up, not move down. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look for when green flag clicked, and we're going to look for our go to x0, y0. Click on that y and type in 50. That's going to make the clouds start a bit higher in the sky. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look at where it says wait 1.5 seconds. Click on that and type in 3. We're going to make the clouds happen a little bit less regularly than the trees and the stars. And now let's have a look at the when I start as clone, and look down until you find repeat 140. Click on that 140 and type in 100. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make the clouds grow a little bit slower. So we're going to click on that 1 and type in 0.5. This is going to make them get bigger at a much slower rate, so it looks like they're further away up in the sky. And we're going to get change y by, currently it says minus 0.5. That's how fast the trees and the stars move down the screen. We're going to change this to 1.5 to make them move up the screen. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, they are moving up quite fast. So, we could change that though. Let's change the speed that the clouds move. Change y by 1. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, we might need to, let's change the repeat back to 140, and let's change y by 0.5. Just this like it was before. Okay, that seems reasonable. So you can have a bit of a play around with that. Have these clouds grow at different speeds. They're not quite getting all the way up, are they? Let's try changing the size by an even smaller amount, 0.25. Let's make them go up. Let's change y by 0.75. So the reason that I'm sort of iterating on all of this, showing you, is that this is the kind of thing that's really good to do, is to play around with the numbers, see what that looks like, have a bit of an experiment. Don't take my code just as is. Have a bit of a play with it, mess it around, hack it a little bit. But aside from that, we've got everything sorted. Our score's working, got our game over screen. And so this has been a nice, simple project. So for now, I think that's all I want to do with it. If there's anything else that you're like, oh, can you add this to the game? Then leave a comment in the YouTube video and we'll try adding it in. But aside from that, always remember to subscribe to see the next episode. Stay awesome, be cool to each other, and take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time, ninjas, and hopefully there won't be this annoying chainsawing that starts just when I'm making this video.